Did you know there's a country that's completely surrounded by another country, and inside that country there's another country? It's like a geographic turducken, and it's just the tip of the iceberg when it comes to the wild world of international borders. We often think of borders as these fixed lines on a map, but the reality is far more interesting and often far more complicated. Some borders are accidental, some are the result of centuries-old conflicts, and some are just plain weird. In this video we're diving deep into the fascinating and sometimes baffling world of crazy country borders. We'll explore the history, the geography, and the human stories behind these lines, in the sand or, the mountains, rivers, or wherever else we might find them. Borders, those seemingly simple lines on a map, can be a source of immense complexity and conflict. They are not just geographical markers, but are often imbued with deep-seated historical, cultural, and political significance. They represent more than just geographical demarcations. They often embody historical grievances, cultural clashes, and political power struggles. These lines can divide families, communities, and entire nations, creating a sense of us versus them. Take, for instance, the border between India and Pakistan. This border is not just a line on a map, but a symbol of a painful past and ongoing tensions. This 1,800-mile line, carved out during the tumultuous partition of British India in 1947, has been a flashpoint for violence and unrest for decades. The partition led to one of the largest mass migrations in history, accompanied by widespread violence and loss of life. The legacy of colonialism, religious tensions, and disputes over the Kashmir region continue to fuel animosity and mistrust between these nuclear-armed neighbors. The border is heavily militarized, with soldiers on constant alert, reflecting the ongoing state of hostility. Similarly, the border separating North and South Korea, a stark reminder of the Cold War and the enduring division of the Korean Peninsula, remains one of the most heavily militarized zones on Earth. The Korean War may have ended in 1953, but the armistice did not bring peace, only a tense ceasefire. The Demilitarized Zone, or DMZ, a 2.5-mile-wide buffer zone stretching for 155 miles along the border, stands as a chilling testament to the fragility of peace and the ever-present threat of conflict. It is a place where the past and present collide, a stark reminder of the cost of division. But the challenges posed by borders are not always so dramatic or violent. In many parts of the world, borders are more about economic and social barriers than military ones. Sometimes they manifest in more subtle ways, creating barriers to trade, hindering economic development, and perpetuating social and cultural divisions. These borders can limit opportunities, restrict movement, and create a sense of isolation for those living near them. Consider the US-Mexico border, a nearly 2,000-mile stretch of land that has become a focal point for debates on immigration, drug trafficking, and economic inequality. This border is a microcosm of the broader issues that borders can represent. The construction of physical barriers, the deployment of border patrol agents, and the implementation of strict immigration policies have had profound consequences for communities on both sides of the divide. Families are separated, and the flow of goods and people is tightly controlled. These examples highlight the complex and often contentious nature of borders. They are not just lines on a map, but living, breathing entities that affect the lives of millions. They remind us that while borders may appear as static lines on a map, they represent dynamic and ever-evolving realities on the ground, shaping the lives of millions of people around the world. Borders are a testament to human history, conflict, and the ongoing quest for identity and belonging. Now let's journey into the realm of the truly bizarre, where borders defy logic, history, and sometimes even common sense. These borders are not just lines on a map, they are stories of human history, politics, and sometimes sheer absurdity. These are the cartographic curiosities that make you scratch your head and wonder, how on earth did that happen? They challenge our understanding of geography and often leave us more puzzled than informed. Our first stop takes us to the Netherlands and Belgium, where the border zigzags through the town of Barl, creating a patchwork of enclaves and exclaves. This town is a living jigsaw puzzle, with pieces of one country embedded within another. Houses are literally divided, with the front door in one country and the back door in another. Imagine living in a house where you sleep in one nation and eat breakfast in another. Imagine trying to explain that to a delivery driver. The logistical challenges are endless, from postal services to emergency responses. Next, we venture to Point Roberts, Washington, a small sliver of the United States separated from the rest of the country by Canada. This tiny exclave is a geographical oddity that complicates daily life for its residents. This geographical quirk means residents must cross the border twice just to reach the nearest American town. A simple trip to the grocery store can turn into an international journey. Talk about an inconvenient commute. The daily lives of Point Roberts residents are a testament to the complexities of living in such a unique location. But perhaps the most mind-boggling border of all belongs to the countries of Azerbaijan and Armenia. The intricacies of this border are a geopolitical puzzle that has baffled many. Wedged between these two nations lies the Nakhchivan Autonomous Republic, an exclave of Azerbaijan completely separated from its mainland by Armenian territory. This separation has significant cultural and political implications. It's like a geographical game of Tetris gone wrong. The borders shift and turn in ways that seem almost playful, yet they have serious real-world consequences. These unusual borders are often the result of historical accidents, political maneuvering, or simply the whims of long-gone rulers. They tell stories of past conflicts, treaties, and decisions that continue to affect us today. But whatever their origins, they serve as a fascinating reminder of the often arbitrary nature of political boundaries. These borders are more than just lines, they are living histories that shape the lives of those who live along them. Chapter 3. The Border That Broke the Mold. A story of division and defiance. Of all the peculiar borders that crisscross our planet, there's one that stands out as particularly extraordinary, a border that defies logic, challenges conventions, and embodies the enduring human spirit in the face of adversity. This border is not just a line on a map, it is a symbol of the ideological battles that have shaped our modern world. I'm talking about the border that once divided East and West Berlin, a city cleaved in two by the ideological struggles of the Cold War. This division was not merely geographical but deeply emotional and psychological, affecting the lives of millions. This wasn't just any border, it was a concrete manifestation of the Iron Curtain, a physical and ideological barrier that separated families, friends, and even lovers for decades. The wall stood as a stark reminder of the political tensions that defined an era. The Berlin Wall, erected in 1961, became a symbol of oppression, division, and the stark contrast between the capitalist West and the communist East. It was a physical embodiment of the ideological divide that permeated every aspect of life in Berlin. Its imposing presence cast a long shadow over the city, a constant reminder of the political and social chasm that separated its inhabitants. The wall was not just a barrier of concrete and barbed wire, it was a barrier of fear, mistrust, and control. But even in the face of such division, the human spirit found a way to persevere. People on both sides of the wall found ways to connect, to share moments of humanity, and to dream of a future without barriers. Stories of daring escapes, clandestine reunions, and acts of defiance against the oppressive regime became woven into the fabric of Berlin's history. These stories were not just tales of bravery, they were acts of resistance against a system that sought to control every aspect of life. And then, in 1989, the unthinkable happened. The world watched in awe as the seemingly impenetrable barrier began to crumble. The Berlin Wall, once thought to be impenetrable, crumbled under the weight of its own contradictions. The very structure that was meant to divide became a symbol of unity and hope. The images of Berliners chipping away at the concrete barrier, tears of joy streaming down their faces, became iconic representations of freedom, unity, and the triumph of hope over despair. These moments were broadcast around the world, inspiring countless others to believe in the possibility of change. The fall of the Berlin Wall marked not only the reunification of a city, but also the beginning of the end for the Cold War. It was a turning point in history, signaling a new era of possibilities and the end of decades-long hostilities. It was a testament to the power of human resilience, the yearning for freedom, and the enduring belief that even the most formidable barriers can be overcome. The story of the Berlin Wall is a powerful reminder that no matter how high the walls, the human spirit will always find a way to break through. Chapter 4. Beyond the lines: what borders teach us about our world. As we've seen, borders are more than just lines on a map. They are complex, often contradictory, and deeply intertwined with the human experience. They can be sources of conflict and division, but they can also foster cooperation, trade, and cultural exchange. The study of borders offers a unique lens through which to understand our world. It reveals the intricate interplay of history, geography, politics, and culture that has shaped the world we live in today. It also highlights the challenges and opportunities presented by globalization, migration, and the increasing interconnectedness of our planet. In an era marked by rising nationalism, border disputes, and debates over immigration, it's more important than ever to engage in thoughtful and nuanced conversations about the role of borders in our world. We must move beyond simplistic narratives of us versus them and recognize the shared humanity that connects us all. Ultimately, borders should serve as bridges, not barriers. They should facilitate cooperation, understanding, and the free flow of people, ideas, and goods. It is up to us, the citizens of this interconnected world, to ensure that borders are used to promote peace, prosperity, and human flourishing for all. Chapter 5. Borderline Obsessed, Share Your Thoughts. So, there you have it, a glimpse into the weird, wild, and wonderful world of international borders. From the bizarre enclaves of Barl to the poignant history of the Berlin Wall, we've explored the diverse and often surprising ways in which borders shape our world. Now I want to hear from you. What's the craziest border you've ever come across? Have you ever experienced the challenges or opportunities presented by a border firsthand? Share your thoughts in the comments below. And if you're as fascinated by geography, history, and the quirks of our planet as I am, be sure to subscribe to my channel for more intriguing content like this. Together, let's continue to explore the world, one border at a time. Outrow, stay curious, stay informed. Borders, man. They're more than just lines on a map. They're like these living, breathing things that tell the story of humanity, you know? The good, the bad, and the just plain weird. But that's what makes this stuff so fascinating to me. It's a reminder that the world is a complex and messy place, full of surprises around every corner. So, yeah, keep exploring, keep asking questions, and keep your minds open. There's a whole world out there waiting to be discovered.